In this video, we're going to be comparing Super Mario Maker 2 versus Super Mario Odyssey. So let's get started. What's up guys, it's me Drew, and this is going to be the first episode of a kind of series I'm doing where I pretty much just compare two games, and I haven't fully decided the name yet, so I was thinking something like head-to-head, something like that. But regardless, this is episode 1, Super Mario Odyssey versus Super Mario Maker 2. So what this video is going to be is a comparison of 6 different factors, and if one game is better in one of the factors, it's going to get a point, and whichever game gets the most points at the end is going to be the winner. So let's get started with the first section, which is graphics. So Super Mario Maker 2 has multiple graphical styles, obviously, so that's why it's a little bit hard to judge for this one. The best looking one is Super Mario 3D World. So Super Mario Maker 2 runs at 60 frames per second, and in the 3D World style, it runs at 1600 by 900 resolution. So that means that it's a bit lower than 1080p, but in the Super Mario Bros. Style and all the other styles, it runs at 1080p. So that is actually better than Super Mario Odyssey, because Mario Odyssey is always at 1600 by 900 when it's docked, and it dips pretty often whenever there's like too much on screen and stuff like that. So Super Mario Odyssey is technically not as good as Super Mario Maker 2, but if you kind of take a look at the graphics and how the games actually look, I think that most people will be able to agree that Super Mario Odyssey looks way better than Super Mario Maker 2. Even if technically it's not completely there, just the textures and the art style and everything, it just looks so good on Super Mario Odyssey. So that's why Super Mario Odyssey gets 1 point for this section. So the next category is going to be gameplay. So how you actually play Super Mario Maker 2 is you can either play this story mode or you can play online levels. So the story mode, it's always just individual levels that aren't really linked together by anything, and you pretty much just go through them, and they're linear 2D like side-scrolling levels. So that is pretty fun because the levels are well designed because they're made by Nintendo. Now, another thing that you can do is make levels. So this is also part of the gameplay because you are making the levels, and that's kind of one of the main parts of the game because it's Super Mario Maker. So when you're making levels, it's really fun, but it's not really like telling you too much about it. It's more like you can find tutorials online on how to make better level design things, or you can play other people's levels and get ideas. And it's really fun because you can test out pretty much anything that you've wondered from any of the other Mario games. You can pretty much just make that in Mario Maker, and it's such a cool idea. Now, I kind of want to mention the power-ups too, because those do change how you play the game. So in this game, they are obviously the 2D style power-ups, where it just makes the game easier, or in Mario Maker 2, you can actually make it so you need the power-up to get past like a certain obstacle, and there is quite a few power-ups, which is pretty cool. So to summarize Super Mario Maker 2's gameplay, it's linear, course clear levels and making levels. So in Super Mario Odyssey, basically the entire game is based around getting all of the moons for that certain area, then you can move on to the next area. This is really fun because you can pretty much explore for a while and find different moons through different challenges. So there's completely different ones. If you don't like one, you could pick another one. This is a bit different from Super Mario Maker 2, where you're pretty much just playing random levels. It's really nice that you can do this, but you can also just pick the easy ones, which isn't great, but it is fun to be able to choose the challenges that you like to do and not do the ones that are really annoying if you don't want to. So the main like gimmick of Super Mario Odyssey is that there is Cappy. So what Cappy lets you do is basically take control of other enemies, and it makes you become them, and then you can pretty much use whatever power they have. So that replaces the power-ups, and it's really good because it kind of limits where you can go with that enemy, because if it's like a jump that's too high for a Goomba to do, or anything like that, then you won't be able to bring that into the next area. So you are kind of limited in where you can have the power-ups, which is a really good way of limiting it instead of just having like a timer or something. I really like how that works in Super Mario Odyssey. Now, something to mention about the controls is that it doesn't have a run button like in Super Mario Maker 2. So this is actually like really nice, because of course they're gonna have a run button because it's the 2D games, but I prefer it without a run button. It's actually like so nice just to be able to move around and not have to always be holding on the button. So to summarize Super Mario Odyssey's gameplay, it's pretty much worlds in like a linear order, so you just have to go through the worlds in that order, but inside the worlds you can get the moons in whatever order you want, and you can pretty much explore it any way that you like until you get enough moons to move on to the next area. So for the category of gameplay, Super Mario Odyssey wins. So the next category is multiplayer. So Super Mario Maker 2 has pretty good multiplayer. So you can play online with random people, and you can add one friend to your party, or you can probably add more people than that, but it's sort of like in how Splatoon 2 how that works, where it's you and your friend plus some other random people. And then you can also, if you download a world and it's in Core Spot, you can play that with people locally. So pretty much if you just have like multiple controllers on one Switch, you can play a level like that. The online multiplayer, it actually works really, really well, and something that might really not seem too much like multiplayer, but I guess it kind of counts as being multiplayer, is how it works like a social media. So you can pretty much upload levels and you can download levels to play and you can like them and stuff like that. So that works really well, and that's a really, really fun thing about Super Mario Maker 2. So Super Mario Odyssey, on the other hand, has okay multiplayer, because what happens is one player can play as Mario and the other player can play as Cappy. So this might not be as bad as it seems, where you can't have Luigi. I wish they could have Luigi. It's just kind of fun though if one player can basically assist you and you work together throughout the entire thing. So it's not as bad as it seems, but they could definitely improve it by adding a second character. There's also competitive online leaderboards for Koopa freerunning and some of the other sports in the game, so that's pretty good. You can compete with other people. And another thing that's really good with the multiplayer is Luigi's Balloon World. So you basically have a certain amount of time, and like let's say you hide the balloon in 10 seconds, the other person has 10 seconds to find the balloon. If they don't find the balloon, you get coins. If they find the balloon, I don't know what happens, I can't remember. In this category, I think it's pretty clear that Super Mario Maker 2 wins. So the difficulty, again, we're going to be starting off with Super Mario Maker 2 and then doing Super Mario Odyssey. So in Super Mario Maker 2, the difficulty is optional, which is really, really nice. But in the single player section of the game, kind of the story mode, they are pretty easy. I find them sort of difficult because I'm not very good at 2D Mario games, but most people find them pretty easy. Now 100%ing the game though is really, really difficult because you have to get like all the costumes and stuff. That is super difficult, but other than that, the online multiplayer modes, they have difficulty option, which is super nice. So you can pretty much choose easy, medium, expert, or something. There's a few categories. So you can pretty much just pick how hard you want it, and the easy levels are just like so easy, but I like playing on medium. So now on to Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey, it's really, really easy to beat the main story. All the moons that you have to get are optional. You don't even have to do the boss fights, so you can pretty much just get all the super, super easy moons and barely do any work and just get your way all the way through the game if you're just trying to beat the game. And platforming is pretty easy with Cappy. It's kind of hard to pull off the different moves, but you can get really far if you do like jump, throw Cappy, dive onto Cappy, then dive off. You get really far. So that makes the platforming pretty easy, but there's also these challenge rooms, and they make it quite a bit more difficult by getting rid of Cappy, and then you just have to go through the room without him and do actual platforming, like without the crutch kind of. So it's kind of cool that they added those. And then there is a bunch of challenging moons that you might only see if you're going for 100%, because there's really no reason to do the hard ones just on your first playthrough. So in the category of difficulty, Super Mario Maker 2 gets another point, pretty much just because the difficulty is completely optional. So just anyone who wants to play, if you're either like a pro at 2D Mario or you're really bad at it like me, you can pretty much just set the difficulty to whatever level you want it at. Now the next category is replay value. So this time we're going to start with Super Mario Odyssey. So this game has amazing replay value. So I'm not going to try to spoil everything, but once you beat the game, more moons show up in all the kingdoms, and these ones have a marker on the map. So I'm not going to give too many details about them, but it makes it a little bit easier because you still have to find the moons, even though it has where it is on the map. So another thing that you can do is play until you get 100%. You can also unlock this thing that's darker side, which is a really hard level. And you have to do that once you get 500 moons. So you can kind of replay the game and try to work your way up to 500 moons. It has a really good reward. Another thing that you can do once you beat the game is go back and try to get all of the costumes. So this game has tons of different costumes, and you have to collect the purple coins to get them. So that adds even more replay value, because you're probably not going to be able to get all of the purple coins on your first playthrough, but on your second playthrough you can go through and get them and get all the costumes that are exclusive to those, and you can also get the costumes that you buy with regular coins. Super Mario Maker 2 doesn't have an end. You really don't beat it unless you're only considering the story mode. So I'm gonna just say that Super Mario Odyssey wins, because so Super Mario Maker 2 really never ends. So that's another point to Super Mario Odyssey. Now onto the next section, which is going to be story. Super Mario Odyssey wins. So I think it's pretty obvious why that is, but I'll go into a little bit of depth on Super Mario Odyssey's story. Because it's really interesting, and if you haven't played it, I think you'll really love the story. So pretty much what happens is Bowser takes Princess Peach to get married. So he does that right at the start while you're fighting him. And he also takes Tiara, which is Cappy's sister, I think. And he takes them and kidnaps both of them. And then they visit every single kingdom to get something for the wedding. So that kind of gives a reason that you're in each kingdom, which is really cool. And there's a little bit of cutscenes and stuff at every single kingdom, which I really, really like that part of the story. So you're pretty much just working through the kingdoms to try to get Peach and Tiara back. So that's pretty much kind of the story of Super Mario Odyssey without any spoilers. So I think it's a really, really good story. The best story in a Mario game, probably. I haven't played Sunshine though. That one I heard has a pretty good story too. But Super Mario Maker 2 has like a really, really boring story. So pretty much at the start of the game in the story mode, Bowser crushes Peach's castle, and then you have to rebuild Peach's castle. That's the whole thing. You go through different levels, and you collect the coins in that level, and you get paid to actually do the level, and then those go towards like building the castle. So you pretty much pay like Toads to build the castle pretty much. So it's really not an interesting story. So that's why I really think that Super Mario Odyssey has like a way, way better story. You'll probably actually love the story in Super Mario Odyssey if you play it, and it has like some cutscenes and stuff that just look amazing. So that's why Super Mario Odyssey wins. Now, before we get to my opinion and the results of this comparison, I just wanted to ask you to leave a comment with 2 games that you think I should compare, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see in the future if I actually do compare those games. You'll be able to watch that video when it comes out. So now on to my opinion before we talk about my recommendations for you. So for me, I've played over 65 hours of Super Mario Odyssey, and for Mario Maker 2 it says over 25 hours, so that should give you a pretty good idea of how much I love Super Mario Odyssey compared to Super Mario Maker 2. And it's not that Super Mario Maker 2 is a bad game, it's just I definitely prefer Odyssey. One of the reasons I find is that Super Mario Maker 2 has inconsistent quality, because it's people making the levels, so people are just obviously gonna make really bad levels sometimes, and it just makes it really inconsistent because you sometimes play good levels, but a lot of times you just play awful levels. On the other hand, Super Mario Odyssey is like always really good. It has like pretty good quality all the way through. Some of the moons aren't as good. Overall, I think that it's a better experience. So in my opinion, Super Mario Odyssey is better. So what do I recommend for you? So if we take a look at the scores that we got from comparing them in this video, Super Mario Odyssey got 4 points and Super Mario Maker 2 only got 2 points. So I definitely recommend that you get Super Mario Odyssey, because for most people, it's a way better game, because I think that 3D Marios are just better overall, and the less linear makes it a lot more fun because you really explore, and it's more of an adventure than just beating levels and just pure platforming. But you might want to get Super Mario Maker 2 if 2 things really. If you love New Super Mario Bros. U or New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, that might make it so you really want to play Super Mario Maker 2, because it's pretty much just more of that. Even if it doesn't have the best level design, it's just infinite levels of that. Or if you played the original one on the Wii U, this one is just an improved version of that, so it's better. So if you are one of those 2 things, then get Super Mario Maker 2, but for everyone else, I'd say get Super Mario Odyssey. So that's pretty much all for this video. Make sure you suggest a name for it. I was thinking like head-to-head or some type of comparison thing. I don't really know what the name is. I'll probably have it decided by the next video. If you want to see more Super Mario Odyssey gameplay, then to my left there should be a Let's Play when that video goes up. If it's not up, it will be something else over there. So make sure you subscribe to my channel for more comparison videos like this one and other first-party Nintendo game content. So that's all for this video. Be sure to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.